What's up, Zox fam? We're back with some more Etheria Restart. Now, we're going to be getting into a character overview of the Shadow Hunter Diting. Now, this is definitely an underrated Animus and another one that you probably have heard no information on. So I want to jump into what this powerhouse can actually do. Now, when we actually get into the rapid fire S1, Diting takes aim and shoots a single enemy, dealing 260% damage with a 40% chance to inflict a 2-turn of vulnerability. Now, vulnerability is going to increase the damage taken by 30%. This is a great S1, and especially because it's single target, this is already emphasizing some sort of need to be single isolating or bossing, right? Now, when we get into the passive, the exclusive mark, at the start of the turn, the team marks the enemy with the lowest HP percentage, increasing his next skill's crit rate against them by 60%, and 120% of the excess crit rate will convert into crit damage. Now, the great thing about this ability is basically the more crit you have, the more of a conversion you can essentially get. Now, because you do get a boost on the next hit, it's guaranteed to give you an additional 60% crit rate. This makes him have the highest innate crit rate buff in the game. So with that being the case, because you're able to also then funnel this into crit damage, this is going to make him an extremely strong and potent character in conjunction to his attribute in all of the game. So this is a very, very high concentrated passive for him to be able to take advantage of, which is going to lead us into his skill 3, which is the power shot. So Diting snipes a single enemy or single target, dealing 450% damage. And when attacking a marked target, he performs 1 extra attack once with rapid fire. Now remember, rapid fire is also going to be the skill 1, which does 260% damage. So this is going to make Diting one of the highest concentrated damage dealers for single target in the game. And the damage potential is really honestly up there. But all in all, this is a great funneling kit. Now, as far as module recommendations, I would definitely say in the early game, you definitely want to look at things like Onslaught, where the Onslaught set will actually be giving you an attack increase of 45% on a 12 matrix bonus. And then as you start getting some other sets accessible, definitely the Harvest set, which gives you an attack increase of 10%. And when attacking, if the target's HP is above 50%, additionally ignores 30% of their defense. You also have Momentum. So on a 12 matrix bonus, it gives you a crit rate increase of 12%. And then when attacking, for each debuff or control effect on the target, damage is increased by 6% up to a maximum of 30%. And then when you get into Cataclysm, which is going to be endgame, you can take advantage of sets like Fury Edge, which gives you a crit rate increase of 12% and a crit damage increase of 20%. Now, when we're looking at some of these stat values that you want to aim for as far as main stat and substat, I would definitely recommend things like crit damage, effect accuracy, and crit damage. But if you're working your way up, I definitely would say crit rate would be good with crit damage and attack. And then you can alternate these stat values based off of what you need and what your substats are actually rolling. Now, when you're looking at substat allocation, I would definitely say things like, for example, crit rate, crit damage, attack bonus, and effect accuracy are going to be your best friends. And if you can work in a little speed for rotations, then that wouldn't be so bad either. Now, as far as skill recommendations, I would definitely say starting out with the skill 2, you're going to have in the first node an increase to crit rate boost effect to 50%. Then in the second one, it increases the crit damage conversion effect to 80%. The third one increases crit rate boost effect further to 60%. And then finally, it will increase the crit damage conversion effect to 120%. From there, you're going to have skill 3, which is going to, in the first node, increase the chance of a follow-up attack to 80%. Then after that, in the second node, it increases the damage multiplier to 450%. Then you're also going to increase the chance of follow-up attack to 100% in the third node. And then finally, in the fourth major node, it reduces the skill cooldown by 1 turn. And then lastly, we have the skill 1, which is going to make it to where in the first node, it increases the damage multiplier to 240%. Then in the second node, it increases the chance of inflicting vulnerability damage to 40%. The third node increases the damage multiplier to 260%. And then lastly, it will increase the duration of vulnerability to 2 turns. Now, as far as shell recommendations, starting out in Jax, you're going to have the Agent Lizard, Buddha Panda, Twilight Knight, White Fang, Golden Lion, Count. Now, if you're in a more PvP-oriented scenario, then I would recommend using the Law of Silence. And this ability is basically enabling the character to not be targeted by single target abilities. Now, getting into our infamous pros and cons, I gotta say, with Shadow Hunter Diting, this is definitely an extremely high in value SR character. Not only is this one of a kind, but this character is the only character in the game that can overstock crit rate for crit damage. And this is something that allows this character to further scaling his damage. He has one of the highest hit multipliers in the game tagged on with additional damage. And then on top of that, also having it paired up with the vulnerability makes his ceiling that much higher. And this is all just what he offers himself, not including if you have a defense break, not including if you have anyone giving an attack up increase. These are all things that can further scale this character. And honestly, like I said, the potency is absolutely insane when you're able to deal damage, especially against bossing and single target isolation and nukes. Now, some of the cons, I think, of course, with these high ceilings of damage is the fact that this unit is going to be very, very squishy. In comparison to a lot of other units, this is definitely a unit that can just easily get one shot. And so with that, you do have to consider different setups that are going to allow you to have more of a safeguarding for a character like Diting, or you're going to need to make sure that your gear is at the point where you can basically guarantee that whatever it is you're hitting, you're killing. So with all of that being said, that's going to be basically that for the Shadow Hunter Diting. I hope that this was able to give you a little bit more insight on how this Animus works and maybe how you can apply this Animus to your composition. So of course, with that, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more amazing Etheria Restart content. But everyone, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.